So we continue our discussion of on invitations, which are categorized as formal and informal. The last time we were together, we discussed invitations and replies, formal invitations and formal replies, and we are by now fairly well familiar with the characteristics of formal invitations and replies. So today I plan to take you through a sample of a formal invitation and formal replies. So if you can make out on the screen, this is a sample of a formal invitation that I plan to take you through. I am aligning it in a fashion that is amenable to a print view of the same. So here you are. If you see, the information is centrally aligned. The information is centrally aligned. It reads, the information is centrally aligned. First of all, this is the alignment. This is the alignment. And if you want me to give you a print view, if I'll see if it's possible. Print view. Yeah, this is alright, leave it. Let's go back. This is what a formal invitation is. I wanted to give you the print view. This particular system, which happens to be the latest, I'm not familiar with the modalities of functioning of this particular system. Anyway, the information is centrally aligned, as you can all see. Mr. and Mrs. Jai Him, and it reads, Mr. and Mrs. Jai Hemendra Gagra solicit the benign presence of Mr. and Mrs. Chandrachud Singh on the special occasion of Beena's 16th birthday celebrations at 4 Points Rajpur Road, Dehradun on 15 July 2020 at 6:30 p.m. And then on one hand we have on bottom one hand we have the address of the person who is extending the invitation, and on the other we have the characteristic or the essence of a formal invitation, the letters in capital case RSVP, which in English, which is actually French, which is a contraction of French, which in English means reply if you please. And you see, the information is centrally aligned. And each piece of information, each piece of important information is on a separate line. I have on purpose brought these prepositions also on separate line to emphasize the fact that the information is centrally aligned. Otherwise, there is no issue. You can bring, for example, of in the third line and conjoin it with the second line that precedes it. So information is centrally aligned, and the person who is extending the information, here in this case it is Mr. and Mrs. There are two persons, in fact, husband and wife, Mr. and Mrs. Jai Hemendra Gagra, who have extended the invitation to Mr. and Mrs. Chandrachud Singh. And the second second part of this whole sentence is standard: solicit the benign presence, or you may say you can express it in any other way as long as it is formal. And all important pieces of information are on different lines. As I've already told you, as far as these prepositions on different lines, occupying different lines are concerned, I have purposely on purpose written them on separate line just to highlight the fact that the information is centrally aligned. The whereabouts of the function the timing are all important facts that must go in any invitation for that matter. And here you have the address of the person who is extended the invitation. The important thing was that the person who is extending the invitation is referring to himself in the third person and calls himself and his wife by names. And the person who is being extended the invitation is also being referred to by their names. And the purpose is given. You see, there is no use of personal pronoun. There is no use of personal pronoun. There is no we, there is no I, there is no you. This is a standard format of a formal invitation, and this is how you will lay out the information, lay out the sentences or information in a formal invitation. And having drafted a formal invitation, you may always put it inside a box, but that is not an issue. However, in order to add to neatness, you might as well put it inside a box. What are the characteristics do you see? You see, the language is formal, absolutely formal. I have not used any continuous tense anywhere. It is all present indefinite, which is the standard way of expressing formally. So we use present indefinite to express an action scheduled in the future, which has that particular fixture as a fixed timetable. So this is a sample of a formal invitation.